Well, hello everybody. It's Mary with Stamps-N-Lingers, and it is Saturday night at 7 o'clock, which means it is time for a video on Facebook. So, let me go ahead and be sure that we're transmitilating over here off screen, stage left, and see if we've got some folks joining. Give everybody a couple of seconds. I'm not going to panic about the fact that my video is looking blurry and it's all frozeified. I do see some folks coming on. Hey, Susan, appreciate you joining tonight. Hope you're having a great weekend in your social distancing mode. So, yeah, this is fun. Actually, it's been pretty okay. We did go to the nursery today because we ran out of vermiculite, and that was a requirement to continue our bed making. So we went, but we figured that was not as bad as like Sam's or Costco would have been. So, you know, it didn't seem too bad. Hey, Debbie. Hi, Kathy. Hi. Yeah. Hey, Rosie. In the 20s and 6 inches of white stuff. Oh, no. No. It is spring here. We are not programmed to have any more below freezing, certainly for the next couple of weeks. And I'm really hoping our last frost date is next week, I think, and I'm hoping that we get past that without it. I know it's going to happen. It will freeze. As soon as I put my plants out, it will freeze, but I'm kind of hoping it doesn't. Hey, Roz, appreciate you joining. Hi, Carol. Thank you for coming on tonight. All right, so this is the card that I gave the sneak peek of this morning. Very much a spring card. I will apologize ahead of time for using this image again. I can't help it. It is the cutest dang flower ever. And it is from the new Ornate style stamp set, which is going to be coming on the 1st of April. Hi, Amy. Hi, Nancy. Hey, Pam. Hi, Faith. It'll be coming out on the 1st of April in the new Ornate Garden suite. And this is an early release from the 2020 through 2021 annual catalog, but we're going to be able to order it early. Demonstrators can already get the entire suite. Customers will be able to order it on the 1st. You're going to find it bundled with the gorgeous Ornate Layers die set, which I've used a couple of times already. Hey, Jean and Sharon and Janet. Linda, Robbie, Nancy, how are you doing? Appreciate you joining. Hi, Karen. Thank you for coming on. So anyway, this is a gorgeous stamp set. As you can see, though, it is image only, so you're going to want a sentiment stamp. And I will tell you what, I call this a flyover set. It's easy to overlook it in the catalog, and it's easy to say, oh, you know, I really don't like that whole kind of aesthetic. But when you're trying to do a clean and simple card, it's really kind of perfect with those negative space sentiments. I really like them a lot. And you get, you know, congratulations and happy birthday, thank you, a hello, straight up hello, and a from you, for you from me. So there's a lot to be done there. Exactly, Mary. They can keep their white and freezing. Cold and sunny in California. Yes. All right. So this is our card. We're going to go ahead and get started. I have some things at the end that are kind of administrative-y things, so I want you to stick on. It'll be information that you're kind of going to be interested in, I think. But let's go ahead and make us a card, shall we? All right. Before you came on, I very smartly did some card cutting and some ribbon cutting. All of this will be on my blog tomorrow, so you don't have to worry about taking any measurements or notes. We're going to have a Whisper White envelope. I've used Daffodil Delight paper from the Brights 6x6 DSP in the annual catalog. Hi, Tina. Hi, Christine. Appreciate you joining. Hi, Linda. Yes, lockdown. Y'all, just stay home. Just stay home. Eat out of your freezer. Eat out of your pantry. Use one of those 500 rolls of toilet paper that you bought. Please just stay home. Social distancing, I suspect, is going to be one of our strongest lines of defense against this coronavirus. And if you can turn off your TV and stop watching the news, you will not be nearly so scared, I promise. All right, so anyway, Whisper White envelope and some DSP. And we're going to have a Daffodil Delight card base. And one of my favorite color combinations, Daffodil Delight, Granny Apple Green, and White. It's as crisp as spring, and it is absolutely perfect. So I've got 2 Granny Apple Green mattes and some other little pieces and parts, and let us get started. All right, so I have a card front, 3 7/8 by 5 1/8 that I have embossed in the basket weave 3D folder. And we made a cake that looks like a roll of toilet paper. Publix did. Oh my God. Well, you know, you gotta laugh, right? Because it's silly. I did read today an article on, I think somebody posted it on Facebook, and so that means it's of course true. But, you know, the question is why are people buying toilet paper? There's no protecting you from the coronavirus by toilet paper. But what this article said, and I think it's true, is there's so much that we don't know, and we get conflicting messages. You know, one day, don't panic. The next day, shut down the borders. And so what it said is when there's conflicting evidence and conflicting information, then people don't know what to think, and that makes them even more anxious. And so they react in ways that they might not if they had the wherewithal to stop and think about it for a second. So I think we're acting like the zombie apocalypse is coming, which is not at all to discount the coronavirus. I think it's a dangerous disease, and I think it needs to be respected. One of the other things that I saw, and then I'm going to shut up. One of the other things I saw is, yes, we may all get through coronavirus fine. We may only have a cold, symptoms, and feel like crap for a few days and recover. Unfortunately, because of the incubation period, we're likely to go see our grandparents or someone else's grandparents, and they might not be so lucky. So do us all a favor, do yourself and all of your family members a favor, and just stay home. Stop and think, yes, which is different than stop, drop, and roll for a completely different thing. But common sense, people, let's not let it go out the door. Okay, so I have that matted on my Granny Apple Green mat, and I'm going to take a piece of that Daffodil Delight Brights. I'm going to mat it on a piece of Granny Apple Green. Isn't this just the coolest color combination? I love Granny Apple Green. I like it even more than I loved Lemon Lime Twist, and I loved Lemon Lime Twist quite a bit, but Granny Apple Green is even better for me. Okay, so I've matted it on there. Before I adhere it to the card front, I'm going to use a little piece of Granny Apple Green 1/2-inch textured weave ribbon, and I'm going to use snail to adhere that down. Do we not make any toilet paper in the USA? Does it all come from... No, I don't think it comes from China, but I just think everybody doesn't know what to think, you know? I mean, I only bought 2 tons of dried pinto beans, so I may or may not be prepared. All right, so I'm just going to roll this snail across my card front and use it to adhere this little length of ribbon, like so. Did y'all catch that whole thing about 2 tons of pinto beans? I did not purchase 2 tons of pinto beans. I'm just telling you that right up. Okay. So I've got that adhered with snail, and now I'm going to use some liquid glue to adhere this matted piece of DSP, like so. I'm going to pull it to me just a little bit so I can see it and get it all lined up, or it will be crooked, and then I will be so bummed with myself. So bummed with myself. There we go. That looks pretty good. All right, we'll turn it over and give it a little rub. Classic colors. Green gingham with yellow embroidery. There you go. That is exactly right. I probably had a very, very similar dress. I'm just saying. And I had a Sunday school hat with a romper. That's what I called the rubber band that held it on my head. I probably had a white... I probably had a white hat or a yellow hat with a white romper on it. Okay, now we're going to set that aside, and I'm going to stamp my favoriteest new flower image from Ornate Style. We're going to stamp it in Tuxedo Black Memento ink. Memento ink. And I'm going to stamp it right there on kind of a jaunty little angle. White gloves? Of course you wore white gloves. And yes, we all had that hat. That's funny. We all had that hat. Did we all have a romper, and did we all hate it? The romper, that is. I think we probably all hated the romper because it kind of choked us like that. All right, now I'm going to let that dry a little bit, and I'm going to get a piece of Whisper White that I did not cut because I was working so hard to make sure everything was ready, but I didn't actually get everything ready, apparently. I had all the other things, but not the basics, like, you know, an inner liner. So let's go ahead and get that cut right quick. Let me move that before I smear it, because that's just sure to happen. Just sure to happen. Here we go. So this is just a piece of Whisper White, and we're going to cut it at 3 7/8 by 5 1/8 for our inner liner. And I'm doing this now because I want to do the inside. I want to stamp the inside with my daisy, so that it will get all drying and dried. It will get all driedified. Oh, I didn't show you the inside, did I? White shoes. Yes, that's correct. White shoes, white ankle socks, and a lace ruffle. White ankle socks with a lace ruffle. What you should have for dinner, mate. Oh, you should not have skipped lunch. Never skip lunch. Okay, so this is the inside. So I'm going to go ahead and stamp that sentiment right now, and then I will stamp the flower next to it, and it can sit and dry while we are coloring the front art. Now I'm just using, this is the sentiment from Label Me Bold. Here's a funny little thing. When I was doing the video description on Facebook before we started, I was typing Label Me Bold, and Facebook helped me by changing it to Label Me Old. And I thought, okay, that is rude. That is just freaking rude. Facebook calls me old and doesn't even know me. I'm going to have nightmares, those socks. But you know, those socks came back like, you know, they were kind of a thing, right? I mean, they're really cute. Think of all the things that we do to kids now that they're going to look back and go, oh my Lord. Okay, now I'm just stamping this again next to my sentiment. And I'm going to set them aside. And since I have it out, and I can get this out of the way and put away the tuxedo black, the very dangerous for me tuxedo black. It's dangerous because I'm using white and tuxedo black, and that's just bad. And we're going to make sure that's right side up. And I'm just going to stamp this in the corner of my envelope. Okay, now that can set aside as well. I'll put that where I don't get it. I'm going to get rid of this ink so that I don't get it everywhere. And now let's color our flowers. I used watercolor pencils, and I used both the #1 assortment, the first original one, for the Daffodil Delight and the Calypso Coral in there. So let's pull those out. And I also used the assortment 2, and in there I used Granny Apple Green and Crushed Curry. So if you don't have the watercolor pencils, not Cajun Craze, that would not be a good one. No, we should not use that one at all. Crushed Curry, and Granny Apple Green, affectionately called Gag around here, but it seems rude. Okay, let's see. If you had the hat, gloves, and white socks with lace, well, you might be old. I do. It is true. Do you guys know, this is amazing and scary, I will be 30 next year. No. Actually, I will be double that. Oh, my Lord. Okay, so I'm going to take my Granny Apple Green pencil, and I'm just going to color my, this is a leaf, so that's the word I'm looking for. I'm going to color the leaf, and I'm just coloring it all in one little level of darkness, and then I'm adding a little bit of shading in the very same exact awesome techniques that I use with blends, which is to say no technique at all. Okay, now I'm going to take my Daffodil Delight, And I'm going to color, and I'm going to stay near the center. I'm not going to color all the way out in the petals. And I do this because when I get the seed catalogs, they always show daffodils or daisies with inner petals that are yellow, and then they kind of fade out to white. So I'm trying that just to see. Okay, and then I'm going to take my Cresta Curry. I could be your mother. If I was in fact 30, yes, you could be my mother. But since I am not, 57. Look at you! You're such a spring chicken. Thank you, Marianne. I'm still a child. I feel like one every once in a while. All right, so crushed curry on the middle. And then I'm going to take my Calypso Coral, and I'm not getting real heavy-handed with this, okay? I'm just kind of touching around right at the very base. See how little of it I'm really using? You really can't hardly tell it's there, but your brain sees it, I promise. And then I'm just going to kind of fade it out with my Daffodil Delight again. And that's it for the flower. Done and done. All right, so now let us put it on our card de front. Our card de front. Brooke. Well, you know, if you had your oldest son when you were 16, then, you know, if you'd had me when you were 16, you might could have had me. But no, you're just a spring chicken like me. Okay, now what I'm going to do is this is going on here, and since it's over a layer, I'm going to put dimensionals on the top portion and use liquid glue down on the bottom. Okay? All right, so let's go ahead and put some dimensionals up here. When I made this the first time, I very carefully put all my dimensionals on the bottom half and put liquid glue on the top half, which was not correct at all. Not accurate at all. So I had to do some fixing. I learned how to color with blends by watching your videos. Hey, cool. Was that the name? Yes, I think that was Just Add Ink. I think that was the name, but I could be wrong. That happens to me a lot. Okay, and we're just going to put that right about there. And I should actually put the liquid glue on, huh? See, I'm yakking way too much. Way too much, but fortunately that's an easy recovery. All right, we'll let him sit aside, except I want him a little straighter. Okay, we'll let him sit aside for just a second. We're going to make the front sentiment, and it is going to be congratulations. I'm actually glad to hear that, Brooke. That was good. I'm going to take congratulations, and I'm going to literally stamp it on just a scrap of Whisper White that I've got around in Granny Apple Green. And it really doesn't matter how big the piece of cardstock is because I'm going to fussy cut it. Okay. Hey, Michelle, thank you for joining. I appreciate you. All right. This is a really hard fussy cut. Even this. Hey, Daryl. All right. Toodles. Bye. Okay. This is even Amy Kunders can do this. Okay, I'm just going to cut this out. This is one of my favorite things about this stamp set is making these cool little word sentiments like this with just straight fussy cuts and making a nice little white border all the way around. So clean, so simple, and pretty darn perfect in Granny Apple Green, I think. All right, so now I'm going to put some little pieces of dimensionals on the back. Yes, it's true. I've been doing this for 3 weeks now. It is a habit. Sigh. Okay. Put some dimensional pieces on there. And we're going to pop that on the card front. Okie dokie. Come on, get off of there. We have been so busy outside today making Mel's Mix. We square foot garden, and it was time to replenish all of our 4x4 gardens. Thank you, Tanya. Hey, Sue. Appreciate you. Yes, and pieces still. That is correct. You are right. I'm still doing pieces. I can't seem to help myself now. All right, and we're just gonna stick that on like so. Hopefully that's pretty straight. Pick that up because it's not. I've learned a little lesson, which is never push everything down until you're sure it's, you know, straight. As straight as you want it. At least as straight as you want it. Okay, and now we're going to finish this off with one little... Susan. Yes, I went to the dark side, and yes, the earth shifted on its axis, and there was a disturbance in the force when I do that. All right, I'm just going to put a granny apple green glitter dot right there and set that aside. And then let's do a little bit more quick and expert coloring of the rest of our flowers, and we'll be done. That is how simple this card is. Clean and simple is not really my jam, but I do love how this turned out. I really do. I think it's so pretty. Now, one little tip I will tell you when you're using watercolor pencils and you're watercoloring on the front of your envelope, these places where there is a seam on the back will give you kind of an odd colory thing where that is. So you do kind of want to be careful. As it turns out, there's really only one over here, and I should be pretty clear of that. But it will make it a dark spot right there if you go over the top of it. Okay? Just a little word to the wise. Okay, again with my granny apple, or no, this is Daffodil Delight, Mary. For our petals, you gotta love daisies. They're not only simple to look at, and they're simply beautiful, they're apparently pretty easy to color. Who knew? Now, of course, when I made the sample, I wasn't nearly so far ahead in my designing in my head, so I didn't do all these pieces at once like this, but that's okay. You learn more as you go along, right? Okay, and again, my crushed curry in the middle of my flower. Boy, it's that time of year. I just saw azaleas on my plant right outside the kitchen, so that's kind of cool. Yes, indeed, several layers and dimensionals. Yes, exactly correct. But it's not a one-layer challenge. It's just clean and simple, and I think this fits. Where was I? Oh, yes, Calypso Coral. Okay, just a little Calypso Coral around the base of the petals, just around the center of the flower, on both the envelope and my inner liner. And then I'm going to use my Daffodil Delight again to blend that out. Really all you're doing is, remember I've talked about using like Melon Mambo or Calypso Coral when you're using your blends and using Daffodil Delight. It's the same kind of a thing. It just adds a little bit of depth of color to the Daffodil Delight. Not much, just a little. Just a little touchy touch. A touchy touch. Okay, now we'll put that aside and we'll go ahead and adhere. Oh, nice. Orchids blooming. I'm impressed by that. I'm impressed by anybody who can make an orchid bloom. I've heard that's quite the trick. All right, we're going to mat that on Granny Apple Green. As straight as we can make it. And then we're going to put it in our Daffodil Delight card base. I considered a Whisper White card base, but I just thought the Daffodil Delight was even more springy. Even more springy. All right. And there we go. Finally, let's get some dimensionals on this card front, because a card front needs dimensionals. It's part of the description of card fronts, I'm pretty certain. Oh, good. So I've gotten myself all dimensionalized here. Okay, there we go. Yep, I'll have pictures in the next couple of days of our gardening efforts. I know you'll be so thrilled. And hopefully we can plant some plants soon because they are overrunning their little pots. There is no doubt about it. They are ready to go in the ground. Alrighty. They grow like crazy if I water them. If you water them, not so much. Really? So you really aren't supposed to water orchids? I know. Guess how much I know about growing orchids? Butkus. Hi, Lou Ellen. Appreciate you joining. So much rain in Arizona, the desert. Oh, you know, I can remember in California when I was up at Edwards when it would rain. Not only did everything get green and beautiful, but it smelled heavenly. There was nothing like how high desert smells after rain. I don't know if it's the sage or I don't know what it is exactly that smells so wonderful, but it really, really does. I loved it. I would get out of my car and just stand there and take huge deep breaths, which people thought was weird, I know. Okay, so there is our card front popped on. And we'll put a little bit of the Daffodil Delight DSP. Oh, orchids are air plants. I see. Hey, Karen. Yes, if you don't have Label Me Bold, you should get it. It's a great sentiment set. I would love to see this one continue over. It's like your KitchenAid. You don't need it every day. Heck, you probably don't even need it every week. But when you do need it, you want it and you need it, okay? It's just a thing. And that's how this stamp set is. It's a great way to add sentiments to our image-only sets. And we have quite a few of those with beautiful flowers and other images, but no sentiment. Okay, there we go. Easy and also peasy. And I'm not gonna say this until I get all the way done. Let me just double check something. I'm just checking here. Look at that. 3 flowers with tuxedo black ink and not a smear one. Boom! I know. It's crazy. So there we go. Okay, couple of little admin things. I did post this week about the card holders and the glue holders, and I've had a lot of response, but what I thought I would do is just put this in the frame for a second, and if you would like to write down inkstamplove@gmail.com, that is Sandra Hernandez, and she is the POC for the 3D printer card holders and glue holders, okay? So if you would like to order any of those, go ahead. You can just contact her directly and you won't have to wait for me to respond to your email or your contact, okay? There you go. There you go. Okay, now the other thing I wanted to show you guys, I've had some people ask me about 31 products that would be good for holding stamp sets. And we have a brand new little dooha coming out. In fact, it is out. And it is this incredibly adorable tiny utility tote. And it is tiny. You can see, maybe you can't. I've got stamp sets in here. I can fit 20 stamp sets in the tiny utility tote. And they stick up just perfectly so that you can see the title of your stamps. So if you are looking for an alternative storage solution to a Stamp and Storage shelf or any other type of shelf, a few of these would be really, really fun. All right, and they are tiny. So we've got the large utility totes, the small utility totes, which are kind of square, and then these new little beauties. And they are, yep, Faith, you were who I was thinking of. This is about 13.5 inches long, and it stands, wait a minute, let me see where one is. There we go. It stands 6 inches tall, and it is about 5.5 inches deep. So it is perfect for holding stamp sets. This one is the distressed denim, and it is gorgeous. Remember, you can personalize all of our products. So if you are interested in a tiny utility tote or anything else, please look me up, Totes-N-Lingers on Facebook. And there's where you buy these totes, Sharon, right there. Yes, they designed it just for me and for us. Yes, Susan, you do. So I have a Facebook page for my 31 business. It's Totes-N-Lingers, just like Stamps-N-Lingers, only with totes at the start. Or here is my website, www.my31.com/US/EN/Totes-N-Lingers with no spaces. Okay, that's my online store, and you can buy everything there, and I would love it if you would. So if you have any questions, drop me a line. They ship to Australia? I think they do, but I will double check that, okay? And I will answer in the comments. So if you have any questions, please go ahead and put them in here, and I will answer the comments as soon as I get done. And let me know if you've got any questions about the Ornate style set coming up. You know, you can get this right now. Just saying. I'll tell you how. Or the Label Me Bold stamp set. All right, guys. I appreciate your time. Please be safe. Please stay healthy. Wash your hands. Don't touch your face. We'll see you on Thursday on my YouTube channel. All right. Thanks, guys. See ya. Bye.